Imagine a small village, hidden among majestic mountains, where the silence of the hills was broken only by the gentle sound of the wind. In this village, a young man struggled with a universal feeling, the desire to be respected. What he didn't know was that his encounter with an old sage would change his life forever. This is a story about the journey to earn respect, a journey that will reveal 5 profound and transformative teachings. Get ready to be inspired and discover how no one will be able to insult you again after understanding these secrets. In a quiet village, surrounded by towering mountains and dense forests, lived a young man whose presence seemed to go unnoticed by everyone. He was diligent and hardworking, but for some reason he never received the recognition he deserved. His efforts were often ignored, and his suggestions were frequently dismissed without consideration. After another exhausting day of work without any gratitude, the young man felt deeply discouraged. Sitting by the stream that flowed through the village, he watched the running waters and reflected on his life. Why were his efforts not valued? Why did his words carry no weight? He recalled several situations where his ideas were disregarded even when they were good. One such situation occurred during a village meeting. They were discussing how to improve the irrigation system for the crops, which frequently faced problems. The young man suggested building deeper channels and using rainwater reservoirs. However, his comments were ignored, and the meeting ended without any practical decision. On another occasion, he helped repair a house damaged after a storm. He worked late into the night, but the next day, when the villagers thanked the volunteers, his name wasn't even mentioned. He felt invisible, as if his efforts didn't matter. As he reflected, he was interrupted by an elderly woman who was slowly walking along the stream's edge. She carried a basket full of herbs and medicinal flowers. "I see you're deep in thought, young man. What troubles you?" she asked with a gentle smile. "I feel like all my efforts are in vain. I work hard, but no one recognizes what I do. My ideas are always ignored," he replied with a sigh. The elderly woman nodded, understanding his anguish. "I know that feeling well. Often people don't see the value of our efforts until it's too late." "But have you heard of the sage who lives in the mountains?" she asked. "I've heard stories about him, but I never thought of visiting him," the young man admitted. "Perhaps he can help you find the answers you seek," she suggested, continuing on her way. Determined to find a solution, he recalled the stories about the wise old man who lived in a cave in the mountains. This sage was known for his enlightened answers and transformative advice. Motivated by hope, the young man decided he would visit the sage the next day. At dawn the next day, the young man began his journey. He walked along steep trails, crossed dense forests, and faced strong winds. With each step, his determination grew stronger. Upon reaching the mountain summit, he saw the sage's cave, shrouded in a mystical mist. As he approached, he noticed the presence of other visitors, all waiting for their turn to speak with the sage. He joined them, sitting silently and waiting patiently. Finally, the sage, with a serene presence and piercing eyes, beckoned him to come closer. "What brings you here, young man?" asked the sage with a calm and welcoming voice. "Master, I feel invisible to everyone. I work hard, but no one recognizes my effort. My ideas are always ignored." "Why does this happen?" replied the young man, with a mix of sadness and hope. The sage nodded slowly, as if he had heard these words many times before. The lack of recognition can be a deep pain, but respect starts from within. To be seen and heard, you must first value yourself. Allow me to share some lessons that can change your life. The young man, eager for answers, leaned in to listen more attentively. The first lesson is to be assertive. When you speak with conviction, people are compelled to pay attention. Firmness in your words comes from knowledge and confidence. It's not about shouting louder, but about speaking with clarity and certainty. "But Master, how can I be assertive when I feel so insecure?" asked the young man, genuinely curious. Confidence comes from preparation and self-awareness. Study, learn, and practice what you want to communicate. The more you know, the more confident you will feel, replied the sage with an encouraging look. Now let's move on to the second lesson. The second lesson is the art of listening. Many people talk, but few truly listen. When you pay attention to others, you show respect and genuine interest. This creates a bond and makes people interested in you as well. The young man reflected on his own interactions. He realized that often he was so focused on being heard that he forgot to listen. "Master, how can I become a better listener?" he asked. Practice empathy. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Ask questions and show that you care about the answers. This will transform how people perceive you. The sage paused before continuing. The third lesson is to be honest about your successes and failures. No one respects someone who only talks about their victories or hides their mistakes. By sharing your failures, you show humility and humanity. By celebrating your victories, you inspire others. The young man thought about how he always tried to appear perfect and how that might distance him from people. "But Master, isn't it risky to show my weaknesses?" he questioned. "Yes, it can be. But vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. When you are honest, you earn others' trust. And with trust comes respect." The fourth lesson is the importance of helping others. When you extend a hand without expecting anything in return, people notice your generosity. Helping not only improves others' lives, but also elevates your own soul. The young man smiled, remembering how good he felt when helping his neighbors, even in small ways. "Master, how can I help the people around me more?" he asked. Look for opportunities to be helpful. Sometimes a small gesture can make a big difference. Be present, observe, and act when needed. The fifth and final lesson, said the sage, is to take care of yourself. Respecting yourself is key to being respected. This means taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional health. When you value yourself, others will value you too. The young man realized that he often neglected his own needs for the sake of others. "Master, how can I value myself more?" he asked. Find a balance. Do things that bring you joy and peace. Set aside time for yourself. When you are well, you can give your best to others. The young man deeply thanked the sage for the lessons. With a renewed heart and a mind full of new perspectives, he descended the mountain with renewed determination. Back in the village, the young man decided to apply the sage's teachings. The first opportunity arose when a new meeting was called to discuss irrigation improvements. This time, he carefully studied the irrigation system and prepared a detailed plan. When it was his turn to speak, he stood up with confidence. "I have studied our irrigation system and believe that if we build deeper channels and use reservoirs to store rainwater, we can solve our problems. Here is a detailed plan I prepared," he said, handing the document to the village leader. His presentation was clear and assertive. The other villagers listened attentively and, for the first time, seriously considered his proposal. After the meeting, several villagers approached him to discuss the details and offer help. Applying the second lesson, the young man began to listen more to others. When his neighbors talked about their problems, he paid attention and asked questions, showing genuine interest. This did not go unnoticed. People started to see him as someone trustworthy and respectable. The third lesson was the most challenging. On one occasion, while discussing a community project, he admitted to a mistake he had made in a previous task. Instead of judging him, the other villagers appreciated his honesty and humility. He also began to celebrate his small victories, sharing his successes with the community and inspiring others to do the same. Following the fourth lesson, he became more active in helping others. When a neighbor needed help repairing their house, he was the first to offer assistance. These acts of generosity created a stronger bond between him and the community. Finally, the young man began to take better care of himself. He set aside time to relax, engage in activities he enjoyed, and reflect on his goals. He felt more balanced and happy, which was reflected in his attitude towards life. In a short time, people began to notice the change. His colleagues started to value him. His opinions were heard and respected, and he finally felt that he was seen as someone worthy of respect. The young man's story spread throughout the village, inspiring many to seek the same path. After all, true respect comes from within, and by applying these 5 lessons, no one could insult him anymore. The young man's story in the village teaches us that respect and recognition begin within ourselves. In our daily lives, we face similar challenges, feeling invisible, undervalued, and ignored. But by applying the sage's teachings, we can transform these difficulties into opportunities for growth and distinction. Let's reflect on how we can apply these principles in our lives in a practical and profound way. First, be assertive. Often, we are not heard because we do not express our ideas clearly and confidently. Assertiveness is not about speaking louder, but about speaking with conviction. Start by identifying a situation where you would like to be more heard, whether at work or at home. Prepare for this conversation by thoroughly understanding the points you want to discuss. During the conversation, maintain eye contact, speak clearly, and show confidence in your words. Remember, preparation and knowledge about what you are talking about are your greatest tools. Second, truly listen. In a world full of distractions, active listening is a rare and valuable skill. Truly listening creates deep connections and mutual respect. At your next meeting with a friend or colleague, practice active listening. Turn off your phone, look the person in the eyes, and really pay attention to what they are saying. Ask questions that show you are interested and engaged in the conversation. This will strengthen your relationships and demonstrate respect for others' opinions. Third, be honest about your victories and failures. We all make mistakes and have successes. Being honest about both shows authenticity and creates an environment of trust. In your next meeting or significant conversation, share a personal experience where you failed and what you learned from it. Then, share a victory and how you achieved that success. This honesty encourages others to do the same and builds an atmosphere of transparency. Fourth, help others without expecting anything in return. True generosity is selfless. When we help others without expecting anything in return, we create a cycle of kindness and respect. Identify someone who could benefit from your help. This could be a colleague, a neighbor, or a friend. Offer your help genuinely, whether it's with a project, giving advice, or simply a kind gesture. Do this regularly and observe how these small acts transform your relationships and the environment around you. Fifth, take care of yourself. Respect begins with self-care. When we value ourselves, we show the world that we deserve to be valued. Dedicate daily time to take care of yourself. This could be a walk, reading, meditation, or any activity that brings you peace and joy. Maintain a self-care routine that includes physical activities, healthy eating, and leisure moments. When you are well with yourself, it reflects in all areas of your life. By transforming these teachings into daily habits, you will see a significant change in how you are perceived and respected. True respect comes from within, and when you value yourself, the world follows suit. If you enjoyed the story and it resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next videos. So, until the next video.